Good morning. Thanks for joining our webinar today. We're going to be talking about essentials for improving OnBase ROI here in just a minute. Okay, but we've got a few more people hopping on. Give it just another second. Hope everyone's having a great week and had a great 4th of July holiday. Can't believe it's July already. The time is really flying this year. All right. Okay, we may have a few more people trickling in over the next few minutes, but let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today. We're going to be talking about essentials to improving OnBase ROI. We marketed this as 3 essentials, but actually in working through content, we're giving you a few extra and we landed at 5. So we're going to get kicked off, and you'll notice that we have our Q&A and chat features open throughout our conversation today. If you have questions that you'd like addressed, please pop those through our Q&A and we'll address them as they come in. There will also be time for questions at the end of today's webinar. Okay, so our hosts today, we're excited to welcome Kendra Deutsch and Jim Erb. These are our directors of professional services here at DataBank. No one better to talk to you about getting the most out of your ROI. These are experts and pros. They have some great content and tips to walk us through today. So thank you, Jim and Kendra. Before I pass it over to you, I'm going to walk through an announcement around an upcoming event that DataBank is hosting. If you have not registered yet, looking at a few of our attendees today, I know that some of you are already registered and we're looking forward to welcoming you to Activate. Activate is a data automation and AI virtual summit that we're hosting on August 7th. So this is a half-day virtual conference where we're going to be talking about the power of structured data. We're going to be talking about how to get your organization AI ready. And we have some really great external speakers as well as some internal speakers who are going to be joining us that day. So it's very much focused on education. There's going to be some really great discussions and takeaways. We do have a QR code right here if you'd like to go ahead and register. And we will send out some information after the event as well if you'd like to register. So we're looking forward to this event in just a few weeks. We're rounding about 100 and 150 attendees. I think we're projecting to have around 300. So it's going to be a great group, lots of really great peer knowledge, some experts joining us, and we hope that you can join us. We will be making the content for Activate available after the summit. So even if you're not able to attend, I would encourage that you register and we'll be able to send you a link after the fact to download all of our sessions. That is it for my end today. I think we're up to speed on our housekeeping items. So first, I'm going to kick it over to Jim to talk about evaluating ROI for OnBase.
Thank you. Thanks, Claire. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Glad to have everybody here, and hopefully this is informational. If you have any questions, feel free to ask during any of the sessions when either myself or Kendra are speaking, and Claire will fill those questions out to you, and we'll hit them as we go. So, I mean, a lot of people make an initial investment in OnBase. They're not sure where they're going to go with it. They have big plans from the start. Hey, we're going to buy all these licenses. Maybe you got bundled licenses and you got a discount up front. But now you're sitting on these licenses for X number of years, paying maintenance on them year over year, and you haven't really leveraged the best of your investment. It's like buying, it's like buying a sports car and taking it to 3rd gear, never going to 4th or 5th or beyond that. So really what we're looking to do is help everyone. If you own a system, if you're doing a process, if you're working in a legacy system, how can you leverage your OnBase investment so you can do things like reduce your application footprint, reduce your overall maintenance costs at the end of the year by eliminating legacy applications that you still have stood up on old infrastructure. So first look is really return on investment versus cost of ownership. If you are paying for modules that you're not using, if you're not leveraging the software to really maximize the functionality that it has, whether it be a workflow or a work view, if you're just doing basic scan and store retrieve, but you have these other components available to you, that's where, before you go out and say, hey, let's do an RFP or an RFI and look at something else to perform something that we need. That's where we're saying, hey, take a look at OnBase. Can you perform those tasks in OnBase with the software that you already own or with a minimum investment? You don't have to stand up new infrastructure. You don't need new servers. You don't need people to be trained on something they're not familiar with, whether it be from a user perspective as well as an IT perspective, right? So once again, what do we own? Are we leveraging it to the most capacity? So there's a lot of tangible and intangible benefits of looking at the software, and it's really something that you should do annually, right? Go through the process as, one system begins to sunset, start to look at what you have already invested. Is this still the right fit? Can we do more with it? We've got customers that have a lot of different old systems in there. And I'm sure everybody has had an Access database or an Access application sitting out there. And now the person who wrote it, well, they left 3-4 years ago. So somebody's been kind of managing and watching it, but it's really a liability for your organization. So a tangible here is I can take and extract that data out. I can put it into OnBase. I know it's now getting a daily backup. I know that, end of the day, it's going to be there. The intangible is now I have consolidated one less application out of the loop, one less liability for my organization. So those are the things that when we go through and we sit with you and do it, whether it be a solution optimization, can we help you enhance these things? And I'll let Kendra speak to that. She's really been spearheading that for a lot of our customers and our sales team. If they're talking to you, they should be saying, hey, solution optimization is the way to go. It gives us a chance to come in and take a look at things, right? What we built 4, 5, 6, 8 years ago, is it still functioning the way you need it to, or have things changed? Do we have steps in there that we don't need? And then the big factor is understanding key KPIs and metrics in the system. So if you're using the system and now you can track how many applications you process in a day, how many invoices you process in a day, how many cases have you ingested each month, and what's the turnaround on those cases if you're using WorkView. There's great ways right within the product where you can use the reporting dashboard to get all of that information. And then more importantly, export it out quickly and efficiently right to an Excel spreadsheet. So now it's right in the hands of people with a tool that they can use. You don't need Tableau. You don't need anything special. I've got raw data in an Excel spreadsheet. So that's kind of the fundamental for where we're pointing at in terms of maximizing your ROI. Next slide, please. All right, so once again, reporting and analytics, everybody's favorite, right? Never argue with the data. If you have the right data elements as your index fields and your keyword values in OnBase, you can get a lot of ROI just in the simple reporting ability of our reporting dashboards. And another factor is the reporting dashboard can also connect to a secondary data source. So I'm connecting to my OnBase data. I know all my keyword value. I know when documents came in. I know how quickly they went through a workflow. But maybe now I need to do some type of comparative analysis to another database that my application server can now access. I create a connection to that database. I can begin to pull these all into a very user-friendly dashboard so I can see the data that I have in OnBase. I can see the data that I have in my primary line of business application. I can begin to compare that data. Are things in sync? Do we have discrepancies or any type of data missing between either system? And that's really where, someone on our SQL team or one of our solutions engineers can hop in with you. We can do an analysis of what fields, what data you're looking to extract, and write custom reports. Aside from that, the reporting dashboard is very user-friendly. Just like everything else in OnBase, it has point-and-click functionality. So I can go in there as a non-SQL user and know, okay, I want to measure out how many doc types of this certain doc type I get in per month. I can create it. Maybe I want to track a workflow in that same reporting dashboard. I can pull it all into a nice dashboard. So now I can report on data. I can create a data extract, and I can put this to a timer as well. So the tool, from a big perspective, is really a great tool that's easy to use, but it provides you a lot of versatility in the system. All right, next slide. All right, So I think I spoke about potentially centralizing a database. If we had an old access database, if we had a legacy system that was data only, or if we had data in images, we can pull all of that into OnBase. We have numerous customers, I mean, in our healthcare environment, where after each acquisition, they pull in all those patient records. And it may be data only from an old EMR system. It could be any type of financial data. We've pulled in accounts receivable data that had gone out, married that up to a Unity form so it was readily available from a retired accounting system. So there really isn't a limit as to what type of data or data and documents you can pull in. So one of the teams that I manage is our data and migration team, database and migration team, and we do a lot of this. So we pull other OnBase systems into our existing OnBase system. We have customers where maybe they had multiple OnBase systems or they did an acquisition and there was another OnBase system at the company they acquired. And we pull that in so you have one system of record, one system of truth where everything get pulled in. Once again, now you can reduce some of your maintenance costs if you have those multiple systems. You can put everything all in one place. It's easier to manage. It's easier for reporting. Once again, that same reporting dashboard. So if I wanted to find out everything that I pulled in, I could do that right within the tools that I have. So just centralizing, consolidating databases could be any database. So don't say, well, it has to be a certain EMR or something. It can be any set of data that we can pull into OnBase. It could be any set of data in related files, whether they're PDFs or images, whatever the file format. We can pull all of that directly into OnBase. So once again, it's all hosted in the same place. And the big key here is if you have those legacy systems, everybody has something that's going to be sunset. Maybe you're paying an extended fee above and beyond the regular maintenance because it's been sunset. Can you minimize that for a single source of truth? Pull all of it into our OnBase system, and now I have everything readily accessible. So I'm going to break right here. If anybody has any questions on any of the couple of slides that I just went through, now's a
Yeah, it
great
looks like,
time.
yeah, Jim, sorry to interrupt, but it looks like we've had one question come in from Ryan. So he asks, reporting and analytics are a great thing. However, does DataBank have any open SQL queries that any OnBase customer could use and not have to be a customer of DataBank?
I mean, typically we don't share these out to non-DataBank customers, right? However, we do engage with customers that may be a Highland Direct and perform staff logs, et cetera. So, I mean, typically there'd be an NDA process, and then contractually we would do a time and material for the SQL queries that you would need written.
Thank you. Ryan, if you have any follow-ups, just let us know. Any other questions before we keep moving? All right, let's keep going and we'll see if any more questions come in. Moving on to user management.
Yep, I'll take it from here. Thanks, Jim. So a few other kind of detailed points about maximizing ROI. Jim talked kind of over some of the higher level points here, but again, just evaluating your license and usage, making sure that you're utilizing those licenses you own and those people that are assigned to those licenses are utilizing them, or they're being reassigned to other users. Another thing that you guys want to look at is creating load balance processes. So making sure that, things aren't getting stuck in a workflow or work view process because of somebody potentially being, on PTO or not having a backup. Making sure that those backups can access those documents and those cases, so that work continues as those resources are out. Monitoring processes. Jim talked a little bit about that, right? Like how long is it taking for you to process an application? We have, again, the DataBank reporting dashboards package that has some pretty cool features in there that allows you to see how long processing is taking and who is, running the most efficient processes, who's really, creating these cases and applications and processing them most efficiently. And then number 4 here, just adaption of the solution is such a big one that is really hard to kind of put your finger on. Are these users actually using the solution as intended? Are they happy with the solution, right? So just kind of continuing to bring that back into the user's forefront. Are we checking in with these users, frequently to address any pain points or maybe gaps in the solutions that we could make more efficient for them? Um, and then again, data, right? How accurate is the data? Is the data that's currently being captured and provided enough for the users to be able to make their decisions? Is it accurate? Is it pulling from the maybe accurate databases um, or fields being mapped to OnBase? Is it enough for the users, or is there an enhancement there that could potentially increase efficiencies and accuracy of that data? All right, next slide, please. So just a touch more on, user adoption. Um, we see a lot of turnover, right, in those people working with OnBase. There are a lot of people who have implemented projects 5 years ago and have 20 users, and none of them are still with the customer or potentially in that role. And so that's where you want to really look at, are these users that are being trained, these new users, are they getting trained appropriately? Are they just pushing buttons and not really knowing what's going on, right? So looking at just onboarding for new employees or new users is a big one that you want to take into consideration. Evaluating your team's capacity, just making sure that there's project champions assigned to these solutions so that if users do have questions or are kind of struggling, or there's a new user, these project champions or these solution champions or SMEs are really helping them understand the process and what they should be doing in the solution. Making sure they understand kind of the tips and tricks of how they can most easily and accessibly access what they're needing to do their jobs. Again, just identifying any workarounds. So if you're interviewing users every couple months saying, hey, how's the solution still working? And they're saying, well, we're going to, print this document off and we're going to go scan it back in. And you're like, no, like you can just do that in a good 5 seconds with, maybe a virtual print driver, or maybe it's an ad hoc task that you need to create in workflow for them. So something that could be accomplished in a more effective and efficient way. And then the big one here with kind of the new release of the new OnBase Foundation, or OnBase, I guess 24 it's called now. Really just utilizing, App Builder has been something that we've seen people take advantage of. What that does is really give a really good tailored experience to those end users, so they can more customize their user kind of feel and look to the system. We're not giving them too much, so it's overwhelming, but they're getting kind of more of a tailored experience to that platform. So using things like App Builder, custom queries, Jim mentioned before dashboards. We have customers that start opening OnBase and they're actually opening reporting dashboards initially, and they're clicking down into the dashboards to get done what they need to for the day. So utilizing those shortcuts or platforms. And then also, accessibility. There are some pretty good advancements in accessibility for OnBase users, so making use of those. And then any integrations. If users are just needing to access an OnBase document through another platform, utilizing the integration and APIs has been very efficient in most cases. Next slide, please. All right, developing and grooming your roadmap. This is something that everybody should really be kind of working with as they roll out solutions for OnBase, because it is really only, a true return on investment if you're continually expanding and enhancing the solution. It is something that we don't see enough, I'd say, users do, where again, they're maybe going to implement an AP solution and then that's all they're using OnBase for. and they never go back and improve it or expand it or expose it to external users. So making sure that you have a good list of things that you want to accomplish with the system, and you're continually grooming those items. So, you're working with maybe your OnBase committee to touch on those every couple months, every quarter. And you're looking back at some of those items that you've maybe put um, on the wish list, and going back to them and identifying those things. So, you know, let's say you're rolling out a solution for case management, and you have a particular timeline in place, and you have 3 months to do it, right? And there's about 25 things that users have come up with that are potentially out of scope, or things that you can't really identify and implement in the given timeline. Making sure that you're backlogging those items so that in the future, you can look back and say, is this still something that we think the solution would be enhanced by? Jim already touched on kind of replacing those old technologies and old systems, creating those access databases, to be in a work view solution so that you don't have separate admins monitoring all of those. Preparing for enhancements. So anytime that you roll out a new upgrade, making sure that you're aware of any enhancements that might streamline some of the solutions that already have in place, and then making a plan to implement those. And next slide, please. That's it. So questions on my slides, anyone, or comments? We'll take comments too. We don't mind a little bit of collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's anything that this group has seen that's really helped to increase their own effectiveness and use in OnBase, we'd love your commentary. Right. Looks like we have a quiet group today. If there are any other questions, you can always reach out to us via email. Jim and Kendra, thank you for your time today and walking us through this content. We'll be emailing out to you all a recording link with the webinar. And to close us out, one other thing that we wanted to touch on today is just opportunities available to really take some of these learnings from today with a free solution review and have our team look a little bit more holistically at your system. So this is something, it's a new offering that we've put together over the past few months. If you're looking for some particular guidance on a process or solution, this solution review is a really great place to get started. You'd be working directly with our team. They'd be giving you some guidance and areas of optimization to help increase your platform utilization. So Jim and Kendra, any other closing remarks? Otherwise, we will let this group go, and thank you all for attending today.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thanks, everyone.